had plans tonight. I had plans to get cute and to film 2 videos, but instead I was in traffic for 2 hours because I just tried to do a simple grocery run. So now I have lost a lot of time. It's much later than I expected it to be. So you know what? We're lucky to get 1 video, but this is still happening. And I don't really know what the category for this kind of video would be, but it's just something that I wanted to talk about. So I've been getting some old pictures printed, stuff that I never printed before, and I wanted to have hard copies because I'm old school like that. And as I was looking through and just like looking at who I was and what I did and who I was around and all of that, it really got me thinking of how much I've changed. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about going with the flow versus living with intention. Obviously, those 2 concepts are not opposites, but those are the best things I could think of to describe them, and I just want to work through this, do a little bit of soul searching. I want to explore these concepts, and maybe somebody out there can relate to all this. Okay, so when I was looking through old photos, I really started to remember how chill, flexible, go with the flow kind of person I was, specifically in high school and college. I was kind of down for anything, down for everything. I was sort of like a yes girl, not in a people-pleasing kind of way, but just in a yeah, sure. And I was never the kind of girl who'd be like, I don't want to do that. I never really resisted the flow of life. I never really resisted the guiding of other people, not in a bad way, but I never resisted the experiences that laid themselves out before me. And I never really felt uncomfortable. I never felt I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. That doesn't sound fun. I didn't really have those thoughts. I just went with it. Okay, so for context, here are some of the things that I used to just go with, things I used to just say yes to. Oh my gosh, visiting family over the weekend. Especially in college, that's just what you do. You visit your family over the weekend. And that was kind of a pattern that was ingrained in me even beyond college for a while. Well, it's the weekend, I'm going to go visit parents. It's the weekend, I'm going to go visit in-laws. I'm going to go visit grandma. I'm going to go visit Mimi. We were always just kind of going. We would just go pick someone to visit and just go there. Well, we or just me. Going on random trips with people, near or far. Hey, do you want to come? Sure. Going to concerts I don't care about. Going to see movies I don't care about seeing. I would just do it. Being surrounded by people all the time. I never knew true solitude until I got married and Zach got a hobby. And back then, I never thought of solitude. I never yearned for solitude. I was surrounded by people all the time. Another thing I was okay with is letting people borrow my stuff. I'm not going to elaborate too much, but lending things to people, lending clothes to people, I'd just be sure. Staying up late, really late, getting up early, I wasn't whining about that stuff. I was just going on kind of rugged trips, going camping with my dad or with anyone, going and sleeping in cars, sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, having to pee outside. Living in the dorm, it was something that a lot of people hate, and I loved it, but I don't know if I'd love it now, right? And same with living in an apartment, you just go with it. Other things that I was totally fine with, I was in a sorority for 4 years, I was active for 4 years, and I never really thought to myself hey, I don't want to do this. I went to chapter meetings every Sunday night for 4 years. And now, I just don't think I could bring myself to give up every Sunday night. Another thing I would be totally fine with is traveling with family, vacationing with family, or a group of friends. That doesn't come so easily now. Used to be fine with talking on the phone. Hate it now. I used to get FOMO. When something would be happening and I couldn't make it for some reason, I would have FOMO about it. and I rarely experience that now. We also used to go to every wedding we got invited to, every shower we got invited to, every party we got invited to. We would just do all of it without question. And another thing that I used to just flow with was just wandering aimlessly, like going on a walk through town, driving around town, like just seeing where things take you. Okay, so that was a whole bunch of stuff that I used to just go with, for lack of better words here. Sorry for being repetitive. So now, 10 years later-ish, I typically don't do any of those things listed, or I don't want to. When I was living at home, and then when I was in college, I guess I was just never accustomed, never used to having anything of my own, truly my own. I was not making my own choices. I did not have my own space. I wasn't allowed to do much socially when I lived at home with my parents. So then I became a very much yes girl in college. I was just always like, okay. But I don't know, I was truly fine with it. I was fine with all of the activities because I could just go with the flow. And I would do the stupidest stuff, the stuff that seems so stupid to me now. I would go with my friend to go visit her mom who lives 3 hours away. For what? I mean, time was not of the essence back then. Life was basically just about killing time. Getting out of college and settling into my own life slowly for the last 10 years has really shown me basically what comfort truly is. Has shown me what it's like to have control, some degree of control over your own life. And it has shown me what I really love and what I really love to do with my time. I've been able to steer the direction of my own life and make all my own decisions now because I'm an adult. Okay, so me now. It's crazy to compare this me with that me that we just discussed. This me has so much discernment in deciding what to say yes to. And I experience so much internal resistance for anything that may not be the maximum enjoyment or the optimal use of my time. Nowadays, I like to say, I don't waste a single second of my day. I know that sounds kind of exhausting, but it's more like I am living with intention and all my activities are highly curated. If I am sitting down on the couch to read, that has been scheduled out, must read today, and I'm doing it intentionally. It's not spontaneous. Most everything I do is planned, including filming this video. I designate time for most of the things I'm doing throughout the day. It's very purposeful. And it's efficient. It's efficient. I want to maximize my energy, my time, my fun, my productivity too, though. So yeah, I don't really go with the flow as much as I used to. I'm very rarely impromptu or spontaneous. And I don't want to say that I've become prissy or rigid or inflexible, but I just feel like I'm more certain of what I want to do. And at the same time, I feel like I have this bank of energy. I have an energy budget that's just smaller now. I've also come to terms with the truth of who I am, and that is I am an introverted homebody. And if I prefer to stay at home and play video games, then that's okay. So I've gone through this transformation of realizing that that's okay, that that's how I am. And perhaps that is what allows me to be that person. So now I just want to explore some reasons of why perhaps I did change from a go with the flow girl to more of a living with intention kind of girl. My time wasn't currency back then in college and high school like it is now. Nowadays, I'm never bored. I'm never free. I'm never looking to kill time. I'm never not busy. I have more limitations because along with entering adulthood, There comes for perhaps some people a certain degree of anxiety. I've had some stomach issues appear since graduating, and it makes you, like, do I want to go there? Like, are there facilities there? Like, what if I get sick there? And you're having to think a little more strategically. And I guess back in college, I really wasn't a homebody because it was the first time I'd ever been allowed out of home. But I do think I was way too passive in college. I let other people kind of like take me under their wing in like the most annoying like mentor kind of way. I've talked about this before, that I hate this like mentor relationship with friends or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. And I definitely let people kind of like influence me a lot. Not that I did anything like bad, but I'd always be like, yeah, whatever you say. But yeah, now that I know myself, I think I am actually less passive. I do kind of dictate what I do and don't do in my life. And I don't let other people's lives be the example for my own. And another reason why I think I've changed is like, honestly, adulthood gets you really accustomed with comfort. That is not to say I won't ever sleep in a car again, or I won't ever do primitive camping again, but I will really weigh all the factors in deciding if it is going to be a valuable experience for me, like if it's going to be worth it. I basically kind of weigh everything I do, actually. Speaking of being used to comfort, my parents, they always get a hotel when they visit family instead of just like sleeping in the guest bedroom. And I used to think that was kind of rude, but now I kind of low-key get it. However, still on the topic of comfortability, I want to make it clear that I never let my need for comfortability inconvenience somebody else. I never let myself be like a high maintenance person to be around. Okay, so this whole not wasting a second of my day thing, this never ever being spontaneous thing, is this like some crazy need for control? Is this me pointlessly trying to exert control over my own life? Or is this simply me living my life to the fullest? I'm trying to figure this out. Like, is this a good way to be? Or was it better for me to go with the flow, Katie? I don't know. What about you? Have you noticed that you've changed over the years in terms of like things you're up for, things you say yes to, things you spend your time on? Did you used to be quick to say yes and now are quicker to say no, or vice versa? It is weird that I'm not that girl anymore. And yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out if this is a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know. It's really questions that I've been asking myself for years now in terms of why do I feel resistance towards social obligations. But looking back at the old pictures have made me realize that like I used to not be at all. So let me know if I'm not alone. So yes, you as an adult, you kind of get to build your own comfortable world. Like you finally have your own way that you do stuff. You have your own stuff that you like to do. And maybe that does kind of add a degree of rigidity, but maybe we should say solidarity. Is that the right word? I don't know. Basically, I used to do everything and anything, and now I probably don't want to do whatever you're inviting me